people a few minutes to gather their supplies that they might need. But the dough that I'm making is actually going to go in the fridge, and then I'm going to work with my pre-made dough, which if you can see it is right over there already.
Okay, and Dossie, I had bought that dough already. It's been in the fridge. Should I take it out now?
Is it already in circles, or is it one big dough?
It's already in like pre-cut little squares.
Then you could probably wait until we start rolling. Okay. I find that when you make Hamentaschen, they actually hold their shape best when you work with colder dough.
Okay, that's a good tip. So if you are following along, but Ricky and I wanted to encourage, even if you're not following along in this moment, even if you want to do it later, or you just want to see your friends and point and laugh and point at them while they cook, that's good too. Hi, Tehila Altos, welcome. I see Brindle and Tanya have their mixing bowls already. We'll wait another minute for a few more people to join us, but we did mention at one point, and this is just the sugar cookie ingredients and equipment that Dossie shared with me previously, just so you have it and know what she's dealing with. But it's basically the gist is it's a sugar cookie recipe that you then fill and
you could really use any, like I've seen people make Hamentaschen out of chocolate chip cookie dough. You could really use any dough that holds its shape. So if you have a chocolate chip cookie recipe and you like chocolate chip cookies and you want to fill it with a filling, you could do that too.
That's good to know. I think my sister one time did like even brownies, like she did a brownie recipe, and then
as long as it was, pliable to work with.
Right.
My brownie recipes are liquid, but
you have to shape it, right.
It has to be pliable to work. Even like some chocolate chip cookie recipes are like softer and some are more firm. So if you like have one that's more firm, you can do this with chocolate chip cookie dough.
You have to be able to manipulate it and not have it stick to you and be like basically liquid.
I did not make it already,
Dahlia's standing here. She said she would make a chocolate chip cookie dough and fill it with brownies. Now that's Hamentaschen.
That is Hamentaschen. Sarah, I heard you say you didn't make
she
the
said
dough.
She made it with Dahlia last year.
Yeah, I make it.
Dahlia Birzowski, are you on here?
Dahlia's here.
Dahlia made that last year for Purim.
Oh, that's amazing.
Before COVID.
Dahlia, I think I had one of yours. You possibly made it for me.
Like before COVID.
Sarah, I heard you say that you didn't have dough. That's totally fine. You can just simply watch. You can take notes. I'm recording this if you just want to have a good time and watch other people cook, which is totally, totally acceptable. I'm going to spotlight her camera and her video and audio hopefully soon as we're ready to go. Quick icebreaker, quick just getting to know you. We did encourage costumes. I took mine off. I did mention at our last Tefillah talk. By the way, our next Tefillah talk, guys, is the 23rd, which is this coming Tuesday, like a week from yesterday. And then when we get together, then we'll have to schedule our March dates, okay, for those that are part of our sitter group. But we did mention costumes. So I told you I was going to be Tinkerbell for Purim. For now, I'm going to be, I guess, Captain Hook. But it's extremely difficult to see, which is a no-brainer there, I guess. But here's my Captain Hook pirate. Is there anyone else that is sporting a, Dahlia's laughing at me. Is there anyone else sporting a costume? I know our Sterns are all set. They're so cute. Dossie has on her mini ears. Tehila is dressed as a Yavna girl. Love it. Ronit is dressed as Ronit. We're all too grown up and too mature. What's going on here? Oh, Lauren's a little bunny rabbit. Bunnies love Hamentaschen, Lauren.
Well, I got these also for my kids because they can see my face and my bunny.
Oh, that's good. When I was wearing this at work with the mask over my mouth, it was pretty intense. So you want to try to keep that in mind.
I can't even imagine managing that. That's
it was a lot of face covered. I see Tanya and Brindle have ingredients and bowls and mixing bowls, and that is excellent. Again, not necessary or required, but really awesome that they're taking such a proactive role in this demo. Raise your hand if this is your first. Raise your hand if you've never made Hamentaschen before. I'm going to raise my hand. I've never made them.
Really?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You when you were little?
Maybe when I was little, it wasn't memorable. Let's put it that way. From each raising our hand.
Not even with Yachad?
I don't think we ever did it. I bought them. I ate them. I don't know if I ever made them. Lauren's raising her hand. She's supporting me. And so is Ronit, which makes me happy. So I'm not the only one. But It is 8:07. We don't want to keep you all too late. I'm going to turn the program over to my good friend Dossie, and I was thinking about how I was going to intro Dossie. Most of us know Dossie. Most of us know Dossie and love Dossie. Most of us know Dossie in so many different ways. I was like, what angle do I go? Is she like an old-time Yachad supporter, board member, former staff member? Is she Ricky Navandalia's mom these days?
Yeah.
Is she like, she's just everything, and she's everyone's good friend, and is not a random choice. She's
I'm a Huva's cousin.
Huva's cousin, right? Everyone's neighbor, Ronita Dahlia's neighbor, I feel like. But she is a Yachad family member, and we're so happy to have her. But she is an excellent cook. This is not like asking Sarah Cooperman to do this. This is like, Dossie's a fantastic cook. Her girls are fantastic cooks and bakers. They had previously in a prior pre-COVID life had sold their product. Ricky had a whole operation and gave her Meister money from that sale to Yachad back in the day. So they are in the biz. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to try to spotlight Dossie's video, but let's give her a quick round of applause, please, and thank her so much for doing this. She did say anything for Yachad when I asked her, and that is just so much appreciated. So Dossie, take it away. We are your humble students today.
Okay, my pleasure. So actually to start, maybe could you pin my other screen?
Yes.
Just to start? And then we're going to switch to this screen when I start working.
So I can do both.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay.
Thank you for that tip, Nava.
Nava Stern homeschool life. Okay, so as Sarah said, I'll do anything for Yachad. Yachad's my first love. I was your age when I started coming to Yachad. I think I was Dahlia Stern's age. And I won't tell you how old I am now, but it's been a while, you know? I've been with Yachad a while. I love doing baking demos for people that I love. It just like, my love goes into the food, your love goes into the food. These are going to be the best tasting Hamentaschen you ever made. Yeah. Anytime I do a baking demo, I always want to start with supplies and ingredients. So I'm going to go through everything carefully and then we'll get started. The first thing I always talk about when I do anything with baking is that I use my Bubby's rolling pin. And it's important for me to mention it because I feel like my Bubby was connected to me when I was little through a lot of her baking, and I used to bake with her, and I do make a lot of her recipes, and I think of her every time I do a baking demo. And anytime I do, I also feel like any excitement that is had from tonight, any enjoyment that you all have from tonight should be a schluss in her memory. And that's just something I always like to share when I do a baking demo. So that's my Bubby's rolling pin, and I'm proud to use it to teach you Hamentaschen tonight. She was the master Hamentaschen baker. It's a secret that I didn't use her recipe, so don't tell anyone. But for tonight's demo, I gave you guys a little bit of an easier recipe to make because I thought we'd start out a little simpler. So if you're making the dough, you need a good bowl. The recipe actually does say to use a mixer, and a mixer is better for this dough. But for the sake of the demo, I thought I would just do it by hand because it's a little easier to see than bringing out the big mixer in this Zoom. So does everybody see my hand here over the bowl?
Yes.
Yeah. I see Brachi's head nodding. Okay,
that is
good.
very fancy. How you have that dual camera. Is just like totally looking at herself in this. She is just looking at herself. I can tell.
We're fancy people. We're in the Purim spirit. In fact, this is funny, but these are all of our Purims over the years.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that cute? We got that as a gift from a really good friend. And these are actually the cards we mailed to her house. And she put them in a frame for me when we moved into our new house. I just realized now it's like a Purim demo channel. So
we did talk about your family at the last Go B'Yachad Sitter program. We mentioned what we're doing, and we were like, Ricky, can you tell us, or is it top secret? Or like, I know you can't talk about it, but you've been planning it.
You know what? Maybe when we're done, we'll show you a sneak peek. No.
Okay.
You can show us a sneak peek. We'll show you a sneak peek.
It's always like top secret FBI style.
We'll see. So. All right. So when you're baking, the key to good baking in pretty much almost any recipe other than challah, which works with yeast, so that works a little differently, you always work with either wet or dry together before you combine them. So what we're actually going to start with in the bowl is the wet. And we're going to take, this is margarine because I'm keeping my Hamentaschen parve. If you wanted to make them milchik, you certainly could use butter. This is 1 stick of margarine and it is quite softened. So it's been out of the refrigerator for a while. something that always I found very interesting about baking in general is the science behind it. And when you bake, there is a lot of chemistry happening. And everything that happens when you bake is that it works together like a science project. So when your ingredients are at room temperature, they're easier to work with, but it will also affect your outcome of your dough. So you see how soft that was? I just took a regular fork and smashed it up. If I was doing this in a mixer, I wouldn't have to do that, but we're gonna do that here. And then we're gonna add in sugar. And I know this sounds confusing because you think sugar is dry, but actually in baking, sugar is considered a wet.
Oh.
And 1 egg. And I'm pouring in the vanilla. Are people making the dough with me, or is the dough just being watched? Because if people are doing the dough with me, I'll go slower.
Could I make the dough? Because I could. I do have the ingredients. I wasn't planning on it.
Okay, so
okay, that's
so
fine. You don't have to. We just thought it would be nice.
What
I
about
could.
Tanya?
I have all
Are
the
you making
ingredients
the
in the
dough?
fridge, so I have all the ingredients in the house, most of them, so I could.
If you have the dough,
Sarah,
you know, we did not ask you to make this. We just thought it would be fun to watch and for you guys to like write down tips if you wanted to make it afterwards. But if there's anybody who's actually preparing their dough with me, just tell me because I'll go slower.
Oh yeah, cookie dough, that's smart.
Okay, so in here was margarine, egg, sugar, and vanilla. And now I'm adding my orange juice, which my sous chef, Ricky Stern, Go Biachad president, she prepared everything for me in advance. It's really nice to live with sous chefs.
I'm a garbage picker upper.
Nava said she's the garbage picker upper. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you were doing this in a mixer, it would come together a lot smoother. But again, this is just for the demo so that you guys get an idea. And I'm making sure that all the chunks are broken up and that it comes together. And I'm actually going to switch from my fork to a small little whisk because I can't manage to find my big whisk. It's lost somewhere in my kitchen cabinets, but that's okay. We like all things mini. Ha! Who caught that one?
Nice.
Nava thought it was funny. Nobody else is laughing, but Nava thought it was funny.
They're on mute. They're laughing. I wanted to show Sarah what I had got because I had a time.
Oh yeah, good idea. Show them.
I don't know if anyone has this handy or like a pre-made cookie dough. So when Dossie told me that was an option, that was what I went for. So I'm just gonna roll when we come time to forming it and shaping it and filling it and baking it. I'm gonna go ahead and use some of those. I'm just waiting for that part.
I do not have.
So I'm gonna set
dry quickly.
I'm gonna set the wet aside for a minute, and now I'm gonna work with the dry. So in here is already pre-measured my flour.
2 cups.
2 cups of flour. I'm going to add the baking powder into the flour. And I'm going to add the salt into the flour. And the reason you do that and don't just dump it straight in the bowl, which this is a really good baking tip for whatever you're baking anything, is you want the parts of the dough, the parts of the ingredients that are somewhat more bitter to be very well combined. Like when you bite into a Hamentaschen or a cookie, you don't want to taste a big chunk of salt, right? Or baking powder, which doesn't have a very good flavor on its own. But again, the most exciting part about baking is the science. And when you bring all these little things together, something sweet, something salty, it makes something really delicious. So you mix it first, and then you slowly add it into the dough. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
And you see, I didn't put it all in at once because it just will combine a lot easier. And if you're doing this with a big mixer, you would want to do this on low because otherwise your flour will get all over you and all over your kitchen. Then you really need a Navastern to come clean up.
It would not be fun. Let me tell you.
And you see how I'm just like slowly combining it. And as you combine the dry, it's slowly getting thicker and thicker and thicker.
And then consistency-wise, Dossie, you want it like a cookie dough, right? Something that you can
exactly.
Not like a challah dough, like a little bit wetter.
Correct. It's not going to be as stiff as a challah dough. Or maybe stiff isn't the right word. I want to say maybe firm, not as firm as a challah dough, but it should feel like cookie dough.
Right.
And now it's starting to get a little firmer and I'm putting in the rest. And actually Nava, sous chef, You should collect the empty things because we're going to need our space to roll our dough. I'm making such a big mess. I'm not following my own instructions. Okay. So now you see it's gotten thick enough where it's kind of getting stuck in my nifty mini whisk. And this is when, if you're adventurous and you're wearing gloves like I am, you certainly could use your hands. Here, dolls. No, just take that. Okay, but I'm actually going to use a larger size spoon just to combine it first before I get in there with my fingers.
Ew, are you sure?
So now it looks like it's a lot of flour, right? But as you combine it, you're going to see a really good dough is going to form. And this is when, if you're doing it by hand, you could get in. I'm wearing gloves, so it makes it a little easier. You want to like really get all that flour that's on the edge of the bowl, scrape it in. And now it's forming a dough. Now this is really soft dough. And this is why I suggested to have pre-made dough, because it's actually harder to work with and to roll out when it's so soft like this. So this is like one of those magical cooking shows. How many people are Food Network fans on here?
Where you put it in and voila, it's already set.
Voila, right? So this dough is gonna go in my refrigerator now. I'll just put it in a Ziploc bag. You can also cover it with saran wrap and it will sit in the fridge. At the very least, it should sit in the fridge for a couple hours. I probably will do this dough tomorrow. So sous chef, yes, go put that in the kitchen.
So 2 hours minimum, like you're gonna do it overnight.
Yeah, I would say 2 hours minimum, like just to get the right firmness. Can everybody see what it looks like now?
Yeah.
Super soft. It's super soft. Like you see when I put my finger in it.
It's like mushy.
It's mushy. It's sticky almost. It's good. Okay. Dahlia. Bam! It looks like that. Bam! It looks like that.
Oh, okay. It looks like that. So what happened to it? It thickened up. So
it was in the fridge. This was actually, I made this a while ago and I actually froze it. So this would I took this out of my freezer this morning and now you see it's much firmer. It's not putting sticky dough on my fingers. You see how firm it is?
Yeah.
And this is actually half the amount of dough. I cut it in half with that green knife and the other half I rolled out already so that I could show it to you, but I am gonna show you how to roll a dough. Okay. And I am gonna put gloves on for this, even though my hands are already a little dirty.
So I'm asking just because for myself, but if anyone is gonna use this now or later with pre-made, like the ones that come in sheets.
Yeah, do you want to take it out, Sarah? Like, can you just show me what it looks like?
So it's out. It has 2 are missing because someone mysteriously ate them, but I can't tell you who. But is it like, do I want to squish it all together at this point or use the portion?
You really don't have to. If you really want to make this easy on yourself, I wouldn't. I would just.
Each one is its own cookie.
Use something to flatten them out to the right kind of, so that they're really just kind of a flatter circle.
Okay.
And I'll show you what that's supposed to look like in a second. So I just want to talk about what I just did. I put flour on my surface. And the reason that I did that, I don't do that for all of the doughs that I work with, but with sugar cookie dough and temperature, right? The air that we're in and everybody's house is different and their amount of heat is different. Again, like this is science, baking is science. So your dough can get really, really soft in the temperature that you're in, and then it can become really sticky. So putting flour on the surface really helps. And also there's, I don't know if you can really see it, but there is some flour on my rolling pin so that when I roll, and a good baking trick, guys, when you make cookies, I have a plastic plate with just a couple tablespoons of flour right here. And then this way I can just grab it with my fingers and rub it around my rolling pin.
Roll it. Roll it.
Oh, and then you need a cheering squad to sing about rolling.
Let's go now, God, roll it.
Is that a song? Is that like a real Yacht
song? Now
it's the Yacht song.
Who has so much energy? Who was that?
Ricky.
Oh, that was Ricky.
It's like Ricky. Like, what do you think? Who else? Who else would be singing like that?
I was like, how do I not know this Yacht baking song? How do I not know this?
Okay. I just asked my dad if he would go get cookie dough for me.
And he said he would?
He said no.
Oh. Well, save the video and watch it later. You'll do it then.
Okay, so now I've got
my
first dough rolled out. And this is about, I would say, here, I'll actually break off a little piece to show you. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So like, if you could see it, Sarah, you're gonna wanna like get your circles to be, you know, you still want your Hamentaschen to have a bite, and you don't want them too thin because then they will burn in the oven.
The question was more like, the way that they've portioned out the cookie is enough, is an adequate portion size for our Hamentaschen as well?
It probably is. It probably is. I mean, you can make all different size Hamentaschen.
Okay.
So they usually come in a normal size.
There's no Hamentaschen size rule.
Okay. I thought the bigger the Hamentaschen, the better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. Okay, so before we start with the next step, I'm going to show you what my next level of supplies are. Really fancy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do you guys see this? Can you see what those are?
Yeah.
Those are 2 different size kitchen glasses. How easy is that? This one's a little smaller. This one's a little bigger. But when you're trying to cut out Hamentaschen shapes, you start with a circle. When you make Hamentaschen, you have to know your shapes because you want them to look like a triangle, but you start with a circle. And if you don't know the difference between a circle and a triangle, you might get confused. But
so
you
first we have to know science. First we have to know science, and I have to know shapes. This is, I don't know, Das.
It's high tech. Yeah, I can handle
Go back to preschool if you don't know.
Like round, like my ears. Okay, so I've got my glasses. I'm going to use my glasses to shape instead of, but if you have a round cookie cutter, by all means use it. I use glasses. Let's see if my know why do I use glasses?
That's what Bugs did.
Yes, because that's what my Bubby did. And when I make Hamentaschen, I channel my inner Bubby. And so that's why I use glasses. But if you have a round cookie cutter shape, you totally can do that. And if you even have a round cookie cutter shape with like an edge, sometimes they come with like scalloped edges, then it'll be even prettier because then it will look really beautiful. So you need a round glass or cookie cutter. You need a tray to put your Hamentaschen on. And you need fillings, the best part, am I right?
Yes. Yay.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
So I'm going to tell you what fillings I have.
Right, yes, it is the best part.
Maybe you guys could all share your favorite fillings. What'd you say, Broccoli? Say it again.
I'm not sure.
She said she wasn't sure, but she is sure. That is the best part. We all know.
It is the best part. Definitely the best part.
This is cherry. This is apricot, which is my favorite and Nava's favorite. Does anybody know why it was my favorite?
Because
Bobby's
your
favorite.
It was Bobby's favorite. Totally.
Learning.
This is raspberry. This one I bought. These I bought at the bakery.
What is it? It's it's specific to filling. It's pie filling.
It's just pie filling. You can use any jelly or jam you guys have in the house. I also bought this special for tonight's demo, which is like kind of like a par of Nutella.
Oh, I was gonna ask about that.
You chocolate chips. I thought that'd be better. That's what I would do. Chocolate
if you
chips.
guys have Nutella, or if you even wanted to make your own filling, you could like melt some peanut butter and chocolate in the microwave. Marshmallow fluff with chocolate chips.
I was going to ask if marshmallow fluff would work. I think I've seen that. Sarah said chocolate chips.
I happen to not like it in a sugar cookie, but if you like those flavors, I mean, it's so much sugar that it's so sweet for me, but go for it. This is where you get to be creative and make it yours.
It sounds so good. That does sound good.
A s'mores inspired one.
Yeah, Nava.
That sounds good.
Like with
Nava did a demo last week and did s'mores. Yeah, she did a demo last week for Hamentaschen and she did s'mores.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
No one mentioned my mother-in-law's favorite, which is poppy seed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my Bubby liked poppy seed, but that I can't as a line.
There's only too much. Only so much we can do.
There's only so much. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. The other thing is that this is where this plate of flour also comes in handy, because with the glass, I want to always make sure that it's not going to get stuck to the dough. Just like I put flour on here, I'm also just going to take this glass and just dip it in the flour, the rim of the glass in the flour. I happen to like the shorter glass just because it's easier to work with, but it is a little larger than this. So I just brought both so you guys could see that you can make different sizes. But you know, like Sarah pointed out, the bigger the better. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start making circles. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so while I'm making circles, who wants to tell me their favorite Hamentaschen flavor? Maybe one I didn't mention.
Chocolate.
Or something you want to try. Chocolate? Do I hear a chocolate? Who was that?
Sarah didn't hesitate on that one. Her favorite's chocolate. She did not waste a second to say chocolate. Although she said she liked chocolate chips, that kind of vibe. I've seen that also.
I've had that, but
that's my favorite too.
I actually
More than like a
I
spread.
would mix the Nutella with chocolate chips. I think that would be very good.
No, it's too chocolatey.
See, Dahlia says too chocolatey.
It might be good to make out of bread instead of dough for fun right now. Thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about making out of bread right now for fun instead of dough.
I actually made a giant Hamentaschen out of challah for our Friday night Purim Suda. We're gonna have a Hamentaschen
So it's shaped like a, how did you do that?
I made a triangle out of 3 braids. I actually posted it on Instagram last night so you could see it, Sarah.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, and then I made a little roll in the middle, and then when it grew, it just kind of looked like a Hamentaschen.
And welcome, Shira.
Hi, Shira.
Shira J just joined us. Hi, Shira.
Hi.
Shira, just to catch you up, we're not you don't have to follow along with this demonstration. I am recording it. Most of us are not, and we're just enjoying watching Dusty work. You will have this demo to use if you ever do want to make Hamentaschen for Purim with pre-made dough, or she even started off with dough recipes. So you have it all there. And now she's showing us how to shape and form and fill them with all of our
I feel
toppings.
like all
and
that's Shira J. All my like Beach Boulevard peeps are on here. I feel like when COVID is
Like
over, guys, we're gonna have a neighborly party, all of us.
That should be fun.
Block party.
Block party.
Yeah, you gotta get all the Beachwood girls.
And the Rush girls and the Fearlesses. And Dahlia, I know she's not technically on Beach Boulevard, but she's only one house over, so it still counts.
She's adjacent. Yeah, it counts.
We're gonna have to have a block party.
Those are beautiful.
Okay,
Those are
does everybody
cute.
see how nice that came out?
Very nice.
And you saw all I did was I didn't touch the circles yet. All I did was take the in-between pieces out. You certainly could move the circles. I happen to find that with dough that can get sticky, it's easier to touch them less, which is hard because, you know, there's something very gratifying about like mushing dough. But actually, the more that you touch the dough, the more that you will affect the way it will come out and even the way it could taste.
Okay.
So I don't like to play with it too much. Okay, yeah, I made it into a ball, all the scraps, and I set it aside. I'm actually just sticking it in a little bit of flour again and setting it aside because we're gonna roll that out again when we're ready to roll some more. So now, let's see, should we take a vote? Which filling should I start with? Children in this house are saying apricot. What do you guys think? Anybody have opinions on which we should start with?
Do the apricot. That one's good.
Okay.
Sherry. Thank you, Sarah Cooperman. We love you.
I support you.
Okay.
So
So
yummy.
when you fill Hamentaschen, the most important rule of thumb, which is hard to understand, but the rule is less is more. I know it's mind-blowing because you think more is more, but no, less is more. So I actually like to use little plastic spoons. I actually think they're the perfect amount. And you just take a spoonful and you put it, it's not even a full spoon. It's like 3/4 of a spoon in the middle circle. You do not want to fill the whole circle. You only want it to go in the middle. It's about 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 of a teaspoon. And this is kind of thick. So that's why it's great to wear gloves because I'm using my finger to just slide it off the spoon.
So you're wearing gloves.
Yes, I'm wearing gloves. I wear gloves all the time when I bake and I cook, aside from it just being sanitary. I don't really like the way certain things feel on my hands when I'm baking and cooking. And also your hands are warm. Your hands have heat in them. So when you bake and you work with dough, challah dough or cookie dough, the heat, because it's science, right guys? The heat in your hand affects the dough. So it actually is better for the cookie if you don't use your hands.
I never thought about that, but we have to get Dossie on here for his mad science demo also next time. I didn't really
You should do my challah demo. I do way more science with challah dough than I
like
do
with
cookie dough.
beakers. And
Well, no, because everything affects, you know, with challah, you're using yeast. You know, if you use cold eggs instead of room temperature eggs, it'll affect your dough, you know. Well, we've got plenty of other dough. Don't worry, we'll make some cherry.
I'm pretending this is dough. I think I've done it before, actually, a few times.
All right.
And then bread with dough. I've done it before.
So I would say that the dollop, if you will, of filling is approximately the size of a quarter. I mean, thicker than a quarter, but you know, in circumference. Now we're being, now we're doing math too.
Don't get into math. That I can't do.
So actually, this is the point where I'm going to take my gloves off, only because they're not actually right size gloves for this, and so it's harder to work with. So now,
this is the funnest part.
this is the best part. You got to watch closely how we do magic too, guys, not just science.
With gloves.
We're getting a full magic show.
With gloves.
No, she took her gloves off.
I took my gloves off for this part, but you could do it with gloves. I just want you to be able to see really clearly, and I'm worried that the gloves are going to block the vision, but yes, you could wear gloves. You're going to magically turn your circles into triangles. Are we ready?
Yay!
Yes. All right, here we go. I'm going to try to do this in a way that you can see, but I'm going to take two ends and pinch to make a corner. So that's the top of one triangle. And now I'm going to bring up the bottom semicircle with my thumb and pinch the other two.
Beautiful.
So magic. It went from a circle to a triangle. Can you see?
Yeah. Or a cookie to a Hamentaschen.
Or cookie to a Hamentaschen. Good point, Dahlia. Okay, we're going to put it on the tray. And we're going to talk about how to place them on the tray in a second too. But let me make a few more, and I'm going to actually move them over. Let me do a couple more, and then Ricky, you can help so that you can see. All right. Okay. So I'm taking my two fingers, kind of like putting my fingers in a triangle. Do you guys see? Here's my bottom. Here are my two fingers in a triangle, and I'm pinching the top two together. And then I'm pulling the bottom piece up and pinching the two corners.
So it's interesting because I was curious about this, and now I'm seeing it's almost like you're making a wall. Like my thing was, it's not like you're filling them and you're rolling them like a ravioli. Like it's okay if it comes out the top because it's sort of, you're containing it there. It's not like going to go everywhere, right?
Yeah, and also like if you don't overdo your filling, it shouldn't really spill out in the sense that like if you put in too much filling, it will do that and it will get real messy. But if you keep just again, less is more. You know, it should stay filled. See, I went with a triangle again, like my fingers are in it. Hold on, move it over a little bit. My fingers are in a triangle. So I pinched the top two with my two fingers, and then I brought up the bottom and pinched. And for the longest time, like when I started making Hamentaschen many years ago, but I will not tell you how many, they would come out square instead of like triangles.
When I was little and you would make Hamentaschen with me, they would come out like still circles.
Right. So sorry. Not bad, Rick.
Very nice.
Okay.
Nice technique. I like that.
Not bad. So I would often, like sometimes because you're using four fingers, I used to like do this, and then it wasn't quite a triangle. So then I found that it helped me to put my fingers in a triangle first and then pinch at the top and bring up the bottom.
Can I make some?
Yeah, you guys can focus. Yeah, just a minute.
Ricky, do you use the same technique as your mom?
I'm trying it. I never actually realized it, but I think I did like subconsciously, like without realizing it. I always pinch the top first though.
I also just find like when you look down at your hands, right? Like if everybody just kind of goes like this and makes a triangle with your hands, it's just very natural for your two fingers to make the top of a triangle. So that's why when I make them, my points are almost always in front of me that way instead of the other way around.
Out of bread. Kind of made one out of bread.
Cool. Say that again? I didn't hear it.
She made one out of bread for no reason.
Oh yeah? Was it good? Did you eat it? Looks good. Okay.
They're super fun.
Having dough for fun, so I figured I'll use bread because it sounded fun.
That's very fun. I'll eat bread any day over Hamentaschen. Okay, so there's a couple other tips I want to share. So this is what I'm going to actually put on. Hold on. Put on a couple more. We're going to put a couple more Hamentaschen on the tray. So here's the next piece of baking technique that is also science, but also just kind of really important to remember is you don't want to overcrowd your pan. You see how I only have about 10 Hamentaschen on there? I would say this is one of those disposable baking sheets. I would say maybe I could fit 1 or 2 more, but you don't want to overcrowd your pan. And it's important because you put something that makes your dough grow. The baking powder in the recipe, or sometimes it's baking soda, or if you're making challah, it would be yeast. Those are called leavening agents, and they help the dough grow. So when these go in the oven, they're gonna puff up, or usually because of the way that the shape that they're in with the filling will sometimes push the dough out, and that's when you get like flatter edges, which you sometimes see on Hamentaschen, and you want them to have room. And if you crowd it too much, they will steam. And that's not good for baking, because then you'll get mushy dough instead of, the cookies should taste like crisp when you bite into it and soft on the inside. But if they're too close together and they steam, you won't get a good cookie crumble. It won't taste like a cookie. That's what it should look like when you bake it.
I have a question, Dossie, about, is that parchment paper you have there, or wax paper?
Yeah. I'm only using, so it's a good question. I'm only really using, parchment paper is important to use for a few reasons. If you just want your cleanup to be easier, right? That's a good reason. But in terms of baking, when you use different kinds of baking pans, science, guys, they conduct heat. That's conducting heat, meaning how hot do they get? So I'll give you an example. When you bake something in a metal tin, or like, let's say you cook something on your stove. How many of you have warmed up soup or made macaroni on the stove in a metal pot? What happens to the pot?
It gets hot.
It gets really hot. You can't touch it, right? So when you bake on a metal baking sheet, it becomes extremely hot and it conducts heat, meaning the heat stays in the metal and it cooks and bakes, in this case, your Hamentaschen quickly. If you're gonna bake in something disposable, which this is, actually, where's the other one? Ricky, can you get the other pans? This is a disposable pan, which these days is what a lot of people used to bake with because it's just easy. They also happen to be nice and big, so you can fit a lot on there at once. This is what they look like. Have you guys seen these before?
Yeah, and they're shallow, like they're not.
Yeah, it's a cookie sheet. It's not although you could do it in a.
Uh-oh. Minnie is allergic.
Like Minnie
Mouse. She's allergic to
Minnie
something.
Mouse sneeze. Flour. I think some flour went up my nose. The disposable pans bake things differently. So how many of you have baked challah on a pan like this before? Anybody raising hand? I can't see all of you. So you tell me, Sarah, if anybody's raising their hands.
Let's see if anyone, I don't see any hands.
Only Nava. If you bake challah on this type of a pan, you will have challah that's cooked through, but it will be softer. But if you're like me and you like to dip your like crusty challah into something and you want a crusty challah, you want to bake in a metal pan because you're going to get more crust. So the same rule applies to baking cookies and Hamentaschen. If you bake on a disposable pan, they're going to be softer. If you want a crispier, more well-done bottom, I would suggest putting it on a real metal cooking sheet. But if you only have a metal cooking sheet and maybe you don't want it so crusty, that's when it's really good to use parchment paper. It acts as a barrier, and it gives you a little bit more of a separation.
And it's non-stick, like you don't have to spray the paper.
It's non-stick. These are just gonna slide right off, and then you reuse the pans over and over again. If you're not using parchment paper, you do want to use some baking spray or something to oil your surface with.
And I had spotlighted Tanya and Brindle since it looks like they're really
Tanya's
going at it. And
I
I wanted to ask her what kind of pen they were using, but I can see they're muted, but it looks like they have an aluminum also disposable and like a little bit deeper than yours. And then they're spraying it and they are good to go.
They've clearly done this before. Maybe they should give the demo next year.
They're like this. They're like, have all the motions. Like
I see you, Tanya. You're smiling like, Dossie, what did you just sign me up for? But I see you two over there.
You guys are doing great. Let's give a round of applause for Tanya and Brian.
Yeah. They're even wearing Yacha t-shirts.
They're both dressed in Yacha t-shirts. I noticed that.
Good job, guys. We should have done that. Why didn't we think of that? Hello,
Come on.
I'm with my Minnie Mouse here. Okay, so this is one finished tin. So, oh yeah, we didn't do that. We should preheat the
What
oven.
should we put it?
350. So you're gonna bake these on 350. Oh wait, give me that back. Take this one away. You're gonna bake them on 350, and when people say how long, I would say approximately 10 to 12 minutes, but you really have to know your oven. Like in our house, we know that anytime a recipe says 10 to 12 minutes, in our house, that means 15 because our ovens are a little bit weaker. If your oven is stronger, I would check them after 10 minutes. If they don't look like they're slightly browned, I would wait an extra 2 or 3 minutes and check them again. I'm gonna fold these last few that are here, and then I'll do another one for you guys if anybody else wants to see more. Do you want to see more?
Yeah, I want to see some of the other like textural fillings and how that would work.
How it works? Okay, great. Yeah, so this is another like Food Network magical moment. Are you guys ready for some magic?
Boom, boom.
Who's
It's
ready?
like,
Who wants magic?
You know the show on the kitchen, how they just pull out a chicken pot pie right after we put one in?
Right.
It's like, boom.
Ruby is also smiling.
Magic! How did this happen?
There's only one.
Amazing.
All right, so again, I'm gonna flour the cup. And I'm gonna make my circles.
I'm a little jealous of me.
You're jealous of my Minnie Mouse here? I'll share.
If those go missing, you'll know who to look for, I think.
Yeah.
I might steal them.
I actually, it was like a last minute idea, but I'm like, you know, this is a Purim demo. We gotta be
festive.
We gotta be festive, peeps. When we're all done, we'll show you a sneak peek of the Stern's Purim plan.
Pretty exciting.
Guys, this is not
actually,
a joke.
You know what we'll do?
Usually top
we'll
secret.
show it to you, and then you guys will have to guess what we are.
You guys want to stay on because this is so epic.
That's
epic.
fair
It's
enough.
us.
Your daughter's not going to be so happy though, so don't tell her.
It's okay. Yachad can keep a secret.
She won't be happy that it's like being revealed.
Yeah,
It's a week away.
But yeah.
Should we do like a little
I don't know why it has to be so secretive.
Instagram story?
That's true.
It's a week away, guys. Who's excited? Oh, we should. Do you want
I'll
to?
do it on Ricky's
Do you want to take some footage for Instagram?
I do.
I did some, but yeah, definitely do
Would
some.
you like to be a novice?
She's a lot. Yeah, she has so many more influences and followers that we could promote. Yeah,
Get some good.
promote Go Biacha there, Nava.
We'll get Yachad PR. So I just want to point something interesting out. I had rolled out this dough ahead of time, just for demo purposes, so it can move smoothly. And actually, it's way softer and warmer to work with than the other dough was. Like, I don't know that you can really tell, but like, it's just been out longer, and this is like way softer and more pliable, and this is not quite as pliable. Like, can you see?
Or good or just?
It's easier to work with firmer dough. So if you're making a lot of dough, like if you're doubling your recipe, you might want to put, like, I'm gonna put this pile in the fridge before I roll it out again.
Okay.
It's just a tip to make your life easier. You don't have to do it if you're comfortable working with the softer dough, but that's something that I might do because it's super soft. Okay, so which filling should we do next? Raspberry, chocolate? What do the people want?
Chocolate.
I was gonna say chocolate.
Definitely.
You read my mind. I didn't want to speak up, but
Who was that? Who was that said chocolate?
Me.
And me.
Okay.
Going
She
on.
said it was such love.
We have mommy doing the demo.
Okay.
We've got the Zoom set up
Oh,
here.
we're doing a whole
We have
Insta
a
situation.
tripod. They can see everything. We've
And the
got
Minnie Mouse ears.
we've got
So glad I suggested this. I'm regretting it.
chocolates are all in costume, and this is amazing. So
Hey.
So y'all
You have to show Yachad on the screen.
everybody, woo!
Eh.
and super
Okay.
exciting.
Okay, here we go. Chocolate. So now this is a different consistency. You were smart, Sarah. That was a good idea. So I'm still using that less is more, and I put my glove back on so that it's easier and cleaner to work with. This is a much softer filling. I actually would say that this par version is a little softer than Nutella. I think Nutella would be easier to work with if you're making dairy versions.
This is the like
Gluten-free chocolate.
this is the
Is it like a chocolate spread? Who was that? I can't see you, but tell me who you are.
I'm Shira.
Oh, Shira, do you like, is it like a chocolate spread?
Yeah.
So is it sort of like peanut butter? Like this, what I'm using right now is definitely looser than peanut butter.
Yeah.
Well, I can't eat peanut butter.
No, she's
I
asking
know. I'm just saying in terms of consistency, I'm just trying to describe, since we're on the Zoom platform, what it's feeling like to me is that it's kind of a looser consistency. But yeah, I mean, gluten-free chocolate spread sounds delicious. That would work perfect in this. You could even add in some chocolate chips, Shira. That would be really good.
Yeah.
For texture, yeah. Did anyone say sprinkles when we were talking about toppings? That was like Ricky's original like idea, like sprinkles and.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Whoa. So I'll tell you,
make it cool and rainbow.
Yeah, which had I thought about it ahead of time, I would have prepared some. But another cool thing you can do is that after your Hamentaschen are completely baked through and cool, if you melt some chocolate, you can actually, well, you could drizzle it, but you could also dip one corner.
This is like the prettiest thing.
You dip.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
You can dip one corner into melted chocolate and then dip it into sprinkles. And that is like fancy Hamentaschen. I mean,
that's so pretty. That's like,
give your teacher Sherlock Monroe's Hamentaschen.
Yeah, that's Nava will give to her teachers.
Don't just give them to anybody, right? Those are like the.
I mean, you can't. You can.
Those are special.
I also want to just point out that, like, you see that each step that I'm doing for all of them before I start folding.
Folding?
Because you don't want to cross like the flavors.
No, just because I find that like it's just in process. Right. Like I'll do that even when I make a salad. I'll cut everything the same first and then move to the next step. So I like to keep it all the same and then fold them and then put them on. It also keeps your hands cleaner. Like I see what I did the messy part, I got rid of the messy gloves, and now I'm ready to fold. So making my triangle. Go ahead, Nav, you could do it with me. And I don't know if you could see this one up close so well. Maybe we should lower the phone, Ricky. And pinching it together. Now it is a lot softer. Yeah, it's harder than
with the chocolate.
It's harder with the chocolate.
Hoobie, scissors up.
Hoobie!
She got so happy. I wanted to pin Dahlia also because for our Hanukkah event, Dahlia had done some baking and cooking and decorating. So
Dahlia and Dahlia used to bake together before Corona ruined our social lives. We're gonna do it again, Dahlia, this summer, hopefully, maybe even outside. Okay, so this filling, you can sort of see it a little bit in the camera. I don't know if you can actually, but it's loose.
That looks good.
Yeah, it does.
It's good, right? It's loose. It's not as thick as
I would say it's a little bit runnier. Yeah.
This one's like
Ricky had a good point. You're gonna want to use less of it because that less is more, so it doesn't ooze out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can have my ears. She wants my ears, people. How do we feel?
I knew it was happening, Ricky. It was inevitable from the moment this started, and you had your eyes on those.
I got them.
It's really
little fast fingers. They have a whole little operation. That's great. It's really nice.
We're pounding them out. Ricky, there's one more cookie tray that I prepared.
This is what little fingers are for. This is what I'm here. Oh no, okay.
Nava, maybe you should do this demo for your Beechwood class.
Oh yeah.
I've spotlighted Broccoli and I've spotlighted Tahila.
Why?
Hi, Broccoli. Hi, Tahila.
Just making sure we get a chance to see everybody and say hi.
Broccoli, I want to know how you're feeling since the other night. Like, was it just like this amazing moment for you, or like, nah, I've done that before?
What do you mean?
We were watching you play piano.
Broccoli doesn't get like excitable. I feel like she's just like chill.
Yeah, just like
sorry, you got to go back on and watch it because when she got up there and Uri Davidi kind of looked at her like, you know how to play? And she's like, yeah.
She's like,
he was like, I never met her before, but we're going to see you.
That's hilarious.
She was like, what?
What happened?
She played at the Beaker Colum dinner apparently, which I was at and totally missed. So
it was the very end, the very, very end.
Yeah.
You know who was really good at it? Hangman.
Well, people I think were also leaving because the weather was so bad. So people were trying to get out of there.
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
all right,
I'm gonna chill. She doesn't get.
I'm gonna do this one real carefully so you could watch again before I roll out the next one. But I'm gonna pinch up at the top, pinch at the sides, Just put it on the baking sheet. And I would love to see who's making out there. Tanya, and who else is making? Shira, are you
Who pinned me? I didn't pin myself.
Now Sarah's controlling the board.
I am having a good time. I also have a good time renaming people.
Naming people?
Yeah.
What do you name me?
Oh, you'll see. Just stay tuned.
Right now, your name is Sarah Joseph's Sarah the Baker.
Shira the Baker. I just like to have a little fun with my little hosting.
Well, I make things, but they don't stay together.
Shira, it's how they taste. That's really the more important thing.
Oh man, when I try to make a kugel myself, nope.
No good? No luck?
Maybe we should do a kugel demo.
Oh, that's good. No, Zizi should do that.
We should do a kugel demo.
We should do that as
Last
part of
week
like,
we were
we
making
talked
mug
about,
cakes in front of circle, which are not terrible.
we talked about like a Shabbos themed thing. Remember, guys? Ricky, remember? Like having a Shabbos, like a.
She's saying, yeah, she just went to.
Yeah, so if it's like preceded by a kugel making or something like that, we can definitely do
Kugel making?
Yeah, we could do a Thursday night kugel making.
I like to rename Ronit sometimes funny things because she's such a good
Okay, so I put more flour.
You don't need Ron. You should name her the Puzzle Master. Because it's true.
All right, so I'm doing another round of circles over here. And what should we do next? Cherry, raspberry, what do you guys vote for?
Cherry.
Do one more.
Raspberry.
Of Hoovie's got her hand raised. I wonder if she's
I'm the baker? How did I become a baker?
Because Shira of tonight. And what is Ronit's, guys? Read Ronit's title.
Ronit,
The Puzzle Master.
Queen.
Because he literally is the Puzzle Master.
Ronit's the perm.
Because he is.
I'm going to ask Hoovie to unmute Ricky and we'll see if that works. I think she wants to say something, but Hoovie, I see you raising your hand, okay, if you can hear me. So Daci's going to do one more filling demo, and then don't let her forget that she's supposed to show us her perm costume theme.
Oh, yeah, don't let me forget.
I don't want you to sign off and then, was that raspberry? It looks incredible.
This one's cherry, but it's a little funky because it was in the very back of my fridge, and I think it like froze a little back there. So the consistency is a little funny, but I'll show you both because this is the raspberry. And usually every year I make a lot of Hamentaschen because it's like the only time of year that my husband takes like a big tray to work to his office. But people are still working from home these days.
Right.
So this is what the raspberry looks like. I don't know if you can see, it's like very deep and dark in color. And it looks more like this is actually the best kind of consistency for Hamentaschen. It's very thicker. Thick. You see when I hang it upside down, it doesn't drip.
Right.
It's like whereas that chocolate's a little harder to work with. So if you're a beginner and you want something that's going to come out nice, I would suggest using like a thicker jelly like that. And the cherry, this cherry has big chunks of cherry. This is actually not how it usually looks, but again, I think it froze in the back of my fridge. But what's nice about working with this is that you can actually see, hold on. I got a call on the cell. Sorry, in the middle of a demo.
I changed Brando and Tanya to dynamic duo, and I want to know what filling they went with. If you guys want to unmute at some point and let us know what you're using while we watch Daci's last cherry going in. I think
they've heard you. Say it again. Tanya
and Briando, when you get back to the screen, unmute. So I wanted to ask you what you guys are filling with and if we could see your progress. If you're
that was my question.
You wanted to know that also? I'm curious.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Briando. Did you guys fill your Hamentaschen, or are you just making the dough?
Yeah, with Smucker's grape filling.
Smucker's grape. That sounds really good.
Yeah.
So that consistency is nice and thick also. It probably worked well. You guys folded them already?
I really like the Smucker's blueberry.
Yeah. We should try the marshmallow one in here.
No, it's going to be too runny. Too runny.
I changed your name to Dynamic Duo. You can feel free to change it back, but you guys were such a good team.
Okay, so we went with the cherry filling. And this one's also a little wetter than usual because again, I'm pretty sure it froze. But I got my method. And that looks pretty good. And you can actually see, I don't know if can you see it on the screen? I think the lighting's a little wonky, but like there's like a round, you actually see a round cherry coming through.
Oh, cool.
Which is nice. See if I can replicate that again. It's hard to see because the lighting on the phone is like shadowish, but
no, you can see the little
pieces of cherry.
Yeah.
The things that like COVID made us do that we never thought we'd do. Can you see my cherry in the lighting?
Yes, we can.
Yes, that's a sentence I didn't
This
say
is
I'd
very
ever hear you
liquid.
say.
Yeah, it is. This one's a little runnier on the edges. Like if you see
what
Navas
you're
are
saying,
running a little bit. So you want to really seal those corners.
As we watch Dossie finish that technique, I want to remind you all that when you bake these, like Dossie said, start at 350 for, what did we say, 15 minutes?
I would say 10 to 12 minutes, but most of your ovens will probably need closer to 15.
Remember,
and another thing is you always want to start with a preheated oven.
Oh,
don't put them in cold.
Hold on, Nava has a super fan at the door. We need to pause. Nava, get her mask, go to the door. Just, you know.
I'm sure you're used to this with all of her fans.
Yeah, Nava's got a following, guys. If you're not following her on Instagram yet, you're gonna have to follow her.
I don't have Instagram.
So preheated oven because you don't want to put it in a cold oven, and then
and also because what happens is that, really, whenever you bake anything, you always want to start, even cooking, you always want to start with a preheated oven. If you put it into a cold oven while the oven's warming up, it's going to melt, but it won't bake. It'll melt.
Sometimes I do that thinking it's like a shortcut, but really it's
actually a long cut.
I usually do that because I hate touching hot ovens. I literally will do anything to not touch hot ovens.
That's a good point too, Sarah. If you're worried about getting near the oven that's hot, you might put them in before they're hot, but it may affect some of the baking.
Yeah, so you want to preheat your oven, and it's all these little tips are worth the patience, I find, because then you'll get a really good Hamentaschen. So that's 12 on a tray, and I would definitely not do more than that. You want to have a good inch to 2 inches in between. Leave them room to grow. I will tell you that the OCD in me is bothered by the fact that there are both cherry and chocolate on this board. But it's going to be okay.
It'll be okay, Dossie. We're with you. We're here.
It's going to be okay.
They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. You don't need egg wash. It's already going to be like nice and crunchy.
Yeah, no egg wash.
And a reminder, like Dossie said, and I want to revisit it, is that after the fact, after they're baked, or by the way, if you're like a shortcut person like me, as you saw with my pre-made dough, you can decorate already made Hamentaschen. So if Dossie takes those out of the oven, she can then, as Nava was saying, add the drizzle, add the dip, but for the fun and add sprinkles,
Sarah, let's make a note for next year that when we do this next year, I'll demo that too. So everybody can see some fun topping.
So a post baking. So either you've made the dough, you've rolled the dough, you filled the dough and you've baked it, and then you decorate, or even you take an already made Hamentaschen and you add your own sprinkles. What else did we say? Fluff,
you can
syrup,
do fluff, you can do nuts. There's lots
honey,
of
nuts,
could be
crunch.
A sugar cookie dough is like a blank canvas. You could put anything you want into, and hold on. If you want to be really creative and you want to do something savory, I would not use sugar cookie dough for that. But if you wanted to do something savory and just buy like puff pastry dough, and you could, that's something it has the same consistency. You can easily roll it out, like Sarah, this is right up your alley. You buy a box at the store, you don't have to make it.
Right.
Or pie crust dough, and you want it to make it savory. Like I do this sometimes for my purim suda as an appetizer, and I'll fill it with like some spinach or mushrooms and onions.
Oh, cute.
Or even like pastrami and deli roll filling, like cut up little salami and
like
and
a
pastrami
burrata,
and
that's like a burrata type vibe.
Yeah, like brush in some mustard and put that in and bake it. So those are like savory ones. We could do that one year too. So
that's really cute.
These are traditional. And Ricky got the first batch out of the oven, and it is hot. Actually, well, it's not so hot for me, but do you see how much they spread?
There's things under here.
I see it. Sorry. Can you guys see?
Oh, they did grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they grew.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you the difference. Look at,
oh yeah, for sure.
Look at how different in size. Can you see how much it spread?
Yeah.
And that is science.
It's science. Let's do it. Let's give it up for science. Let's give it up for the Stearns, Dossie Stern especially, and her helpers today. Thank you so much. This was so awesome. I learned a ton. You'd think I would know any of these things, but I don't. I hope you guys all learned a ton.
I mean, let's get honest.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna make Hamentaschen.
I don't have a lot of need for baking and stuff like that, thankfully. But I hope you all have a good perm. We do have a program next week, Monday, a pre-perm. So message me if you have any questions about that. I did email most of you guys. But let's not let Dossie forget what she promised us. Sneak peek of the old perm theme. You're going to get it?
Sneak peek. Okay, so how many of you know how the Stearns really do Purim? Anybody know how the Stearns do Purim?
Other than Sarah?
Yeah.
It's a big ordeal.
Okay, so in our family, we always choose a costume or theme that has our last name in it, okay? So for example, we have done Egyptians instead of Egyptians. We've done astronauts. See what I did there? We did shtick figures, sticky Stern, you know. Stern. We did the Flynn Stearns, like the Flintstones, the Flynn Stearns, okay? We did, I think we're most famous for roller coasters. Did anybody see that costume?
That was my favorite. Like we were
wearing a roller coaster? That was best year ever. Can't top my own self after that one. So I'm going to show you our sneak peek, and you guys have to try to guess what we are. Can you do it? Are you up for the challenge?
Her name Stern is incorporated in it again this year?
Yep, it sure is. We've got a list. All right, turn the camera.
Oh, I know. Guess
Anybody?
I have a guess. You guys are so cute. I have a guess. Anyone want to guess? Because I have one.
It's taller than me. It's a life. I mean,
oh my gosh! What? You guys. Can I guess?
So you can actually see.
Oh my gosh! It is. Is that a life-size cutout?
Life size it is. Now we'll move away from in front so that they can see. Do you see it's life size? It's as tall as Ricky and Dahlia.
Yeah, where is that going?
No, Ricky's as tall as Ricky.
So we really needed to be creative this year because of COVID.
Wait, Sarah, you were about to guess.
I do have a guess. Can I guess it?
Yeah.
I guess it.
Is it Western?
Yeah!
Love it.
Extra Western Charlotte for getting it right.
Wild Westerns. So cute.
We're the Westerns. So
cute.
We had to be really creative this year because Nava Stern is home this year. She's got an immune deficiency and we have to be super, super careful with COVID. And so Purim is a really exciting holiday and we had to come up with ways that we could engage with people without engaging with people. So what we actually did was we ordered this, and we also have some other outdoor decorations that are going to go with our theme. And we are going to put out buckets of our prepackaged shalach manas, which we also have to think creatively about, so nothing homemade, you know. And you know, you can take a selfie with the Westerns when you come to our house. And we'll wave from the window and from the door.
So cute.
I hope people will come, even though they know we're so careful. Like we really did think about it so that we could wear masks, be behind the door and be behind the window, and still people could still hug the Stearns.
It is so good. It's so like it looks great. Like it looks like
Doesn't it look like that? I know.
Yeah.
It's really my height. I ordered it 5'2" because she's 5'2" and she's the tallest of the girls. And I thought
that is so perfect.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Congratulations, guys. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So good job. You guessed it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We are going to conclude. I got to do some bedtimes over here. Thank you guys so much. Brian, Dylan, Tanya, especially. I know that you were working along. I'm curious how yours come out. I hope they're good and you enjoy it.
Do you want to show it to us real quick?
Thank you so much. Is it in the oven? Oh, they're muted.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead on me. I'm just curious. If you want to show us,
They're in the oven.
They're in the oven. Okay.
They're in the oven. Okay. Well, send us a picture.
Yeah, take a picture of it. Share it with me. I'll share it with the group. Thank you all so much. I know personally I have my dough ready, and I'm going to probably do this in a few days with my kids helping me because I'm inspired by Dossie's kids helping her. The more hands, the better. Thank you all so much for coming. Happy Purim.
All right. Well, let's send you some pictures too, Sarah. I'll send you some pictures to pass along.
Please do. And I wanted to ask, is Nava still there?
I am.
The real Nava Stern. Stand
I was
up.
gonna take your picture of the screen, but then I don't think you guys wanted the Stern thing on Instagram
Oh,
yet.
yeah. We gotta move it
So
out.
I'm gonna spotlight you again, and then I wanted to tag you because that way it'll get more traffic to our page. And I'll tag your mom's account, and we'll just be so famous. So say something, Nava, about Go B'Yachad.
Oh, video?
Yeah, it's a video. Sorry.
Video.
Do you
Did you want us to unmute the other screen, or you can hear us good? You can hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
All right, go for it now. Go B'Yachad.
I love Go B'Yachad because it's like the most fun place. Everyone is like just themselves and they just have fun and it's so fun.
Go B'Yachad!
That is the best endorsement. Thank you so much. I'm like a little bit blushing, like we're famous now. Thank you, Stern family. Way to go. Way to be accommodating with your perm to make everybody as safe. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Yachad loves you. Yachad loves you all.
Guys, if you're in the neighborhood on Purim, please come to our window and pick up a shawl. Let us wave at us because we want to see you. And there's a lot of neighbors on this call.
Yes.
I got a lot of neighbors on
She
here,
knows where you all live most of the time. So yeah. And if anybody wants this recording later or wants any materials from Dossie or tips, let me know and I can get them to you. Okay.
The Westerns will be on our front lawn, so you'll know which house is ours.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys. Have a great Purim.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.